Hello! Hi guys, what is up? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Sam. If you happen to be new here, new or old, thank you so much for stopping by. Welcome to another video. How are you? First of all, I just want to say I'm sorry I have not been posting consistently. Like, my posting schedule has been off the charts. I mean, it's always kind of really sporadic, and you know, I'm not on a schedule at all when it comes to posting, let's be honest. But I'm finding it very, very difficult now that my youngest child is officially a toddler. She's more mobile than ever, which is a good thing. It is a good thing. But that just means that mama has been more busy than ever. So I really have not found the time to film, even though I really want to, or edit. That's been another big thing. Like, I have all this footage in my phone that I just haven't been able to get edited, and it's been driving me crazy. I don't even know what I'm going to be titling this, but in just a moment you're going to see an unboxing of a plant that is like the holy grail of plants to me and in my collection, and that I never thought that I would ever own. So it's pretty special, to say the least. It's a pretty spectacular plant. I want to do this unboxing. There's two plants we're unboxing. I want to do this unboxing, and I just kind of wanted to go over a few things with you guys about this company, because I've done quite a few unboxings on this channel over the last year for this company. Not for this company, I mean, I did it myself. They didn't ask me to do it or anything. And I've just shown a lot of plants and given a lot of information about this company, and I've spoke very, very highly of them, and I do not take any of that back. But there is another side of it that I learned a little bit later into the game, I guess you could say, that I do feel the need to share with you guys. Like, I think it's important to share the not so exciting or not so great things as well as the good. So I just wanted to do that in this video, and we're going to do an update on the plants, a 1 week update. I'm also going to do a little something else, so just stick around, you'll see. Anyways, if you're interested, then stick around, hang tight, and we're going to jump right on into it. I am doing a voiceover, you guys. My kids were playing in the background, so we are going down this route. Let me just say, this plant is going to be the holy grail of my collection, in my opinion. It's just one of those plants that I never thought that I would ever be able to obtain. Because of the price, I wasn't willing to put it down. So let me just say, I picked the smallest option on LiQWYD for this plant. And the option was for 3 to 4 leaves, because they do have size options for this particular plant. So keep that in mind. I am also doing a payment plan from ShopPay. Here's the plant, and they're actually supposed to be sending me a replacement plant as well. So I was wondering if it was going to be included in this package, but it is not. It doesn't appear. I did include it. Okay, one of these is the plant that I purchased, and the other one is a plant that I purchased a month or 2 ago, and basically it died right away. It didn't make it. So they did send me a replacement. I don't know which is which. They're not labeled, but let's just get into it. Hope for the best. This is her. This is the one I ordered. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm kind of crapping myself right now. Oh my goodness. He has a new leaf. Oh my goodness. I cannot believe I finally own this plant. It feels amazing. Wow. Okay. Anthurium luxurians. So this leaf looks like it is potentially going to go, but we do have a new one right here. Hopefully that leaf makes it, and this leaf is just like, wow. Wow. I'm going to get him out of here and let these roots breathe and everything. It actually doesn't feel too sopping wet this time. Let's go ahead and open the replacement plant, but oh my gosh, I'm so excited about this, and I just really hope that these roots are good and that the plant acclimates and does well in my care. I'm going to be babying it. I'm going to be putting it into my grow tent right away with high humidity in partial shade, and just really keeping a close eye on it because I've just had a lot of issues lately, you guys. I do just want to let you guys know about a couple issues that I have been having with Ecuagenera US plants, only sometimes. So I noticed I've placed a lot of orders with Ecuagenera US, right, over the last year. And so I have a good bit of experience ordering from them, receiving plants from them, and I've had a lot of good things to say about them in each of my unboxings and just different videos talking about ordering from them and plants that I got from them, how much I love them, doing updates and such. So we'll talk about this more in just a moment, but first let's have a peek at this beautiful plant. This is Philodendron fibrosum. And this one has a growth point as well. Lots of nodes to work with. Once we get in the roots, that'll tell us everything we need to know. So stay tuned. But my fibrosum, I know a couple of y'all have definitely asked for an update on that plant because in the unboxing, I did have to remove its roots because the node itself that the roots were growing from was it was black and turning to mush. And I didn't want it to further spread up the stem and just wipe out the plant. I mean, from the initial unboxing, obviously, as always, I'm very happy. I really can't believe I own this plant. I don't think it's hit me yet. So now I have the Anthurium radicans. I have a little Anthurium radicans luxurians cross. And now I also have the Anthurium luxurians that it's incredible that I own this plant right now. Okay, that's it. Let's move right along. We're going to go ahead and get in here and check out the roots. So a big issue that I have been having with Ecuagenera plants, they recommend whenever they ship you your plants that you do not uproot them. They recommend that you leave them in their pots for, a few weeks to acclimate. However, that is what I did with several of my orders, and I have had multiple issues where I noticed after a couple weeks all the foliage is dying off, and I have no choice but to pull them out of the pot and check, and their roots are completely rotted away and gone. And at that point, I have to go ahead and assume the plant had root rot or some type of bacteria or something in the soil on the roots during shipping, like when it was shipped to me.
So that is the reason why I always check the roots on the Ecuagenera USA plants that I receive. I don't typically do this with other plants, with other shops. If they ship me the plants in the pots, I will leave them be, and I haven't had any issues with that. But it's just specifically Ecuagenera because I have found that for whatever reason, they typically will saturate the medium in which the plants are potted in, and they cover it with this tape, obviously to keep the medium and the moisture in. And then, it travels to you in a box for a few days, and that creates the perfect environment for bacteria to form and grow. I do believe that's a huge part of the issue, the fact that, the roots are completely saturated and closed up in this pot in a box for multiple days.
Because every order that I receive from them looks beautiful when I initially unbox it, and it's not until the week following the unboxing until I start having issues. So I do want to go ahead and say that the fibrosum, I've never reached out to Ecuagenera anytime any of the plants have died. Never. Until I got the fibrosum, it was rotted up the stem and then it just completely died. I thought maybe I could save it and reroot one of the nodes, but it didn't work. So I did reach out to them actually a month after I placed that order, you guys, and they let me know that they don't typically replace anything after 3 days, but they did go ahead. I sent them pictures and everything. So they kindly did offer to send me a replacement, which I greatly appreciate. They did not have to do that, and I don't know. I'm very happy with that, and I do really appreciate it. But I just wanted to state that this is the only issue that I have had. And guys, please understand that I am in no way trying to bash this company. I will still order from this company as long as these plants do well. But they only have a 3-day period after you receive your plants in which you can email them, reach out to them with any issues or concerns that you may have. So I would just say if you want to order from Ecuagenera, go for it. But just be aware of some of the issues. Be aware of the fact that you only have 3 days to report any issues. And I would advise that you check the roots upon arrival. And that's pretty much it. I just wanted to share. That's just kind of what my experience has been, because I have ordered so many plants, you guys. Like, I have a lot of experience ordering plants online, and yes, root rot and things like that. Casualties sometimes does happen whenever you're having plants shipped to you in the mail. But I have literally had plants imported to me from Aroid Market and multiple other places that have been in the mail up to 6 days that arrived to me with healthy roots, and they're perfectly fine. Looks like there are some roots on the top of the pot here. So I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to pull them out of the pot, but I'm not going to mess with the root ball at all. Hopefully there's not any bacteria or anything in here, but I do want to move them to one of these. So this is what my Anthurium radicans is growing in. I rerouted it in a pot like this, and these are incredible. It has these big, juicy, healthy roots growing in all these holes. It's amazing. So I get these at Lowe's. They're like $3, I think, and they're like orchid pots basically, but they're not bendy and flimsy like the ones that I order online. They're very sturdy and heavy-duty plastic, and I love that there's the slits and the holes in the bottom for drainage, but there's also these holes all the way around and up these planters, so there's a lot of airflow getting to the medium and the roots. I really, really appreciate that. And also I can see the root ball in these planters because they're clear, right? So I did go out this past weekend because I knew these plants were coming, and I picked up a couple more of these pots for them. I really don't want to throw this plant into shock by removing it from the planter, but oh wow, look at those roots, you guys. Look at those roots. That's amazing. Okay, this one's actually in soil. There's a really nice root system, so I actually don't think I need to disrupt this. I think I'm just gonna wait and put it in here later. I'm gonna leave the plant in here for at least a week or so. I think whenever I go to water this again, I'm going to put just a little bit of peroxide in the water to hopefully kill anything that may be living in here, so any bacteria or fungus or anything like that that could be harmful to the plant. But I am going to do as they recommend and just leave the plant be, because it has an amazing root system and it looks really nice, and it's also not too wet, which thank God. I paid a little extra for UPS 2-day air shipping. The issues that I've had, I really wanted this luxuriance especially to get here as quick as possible. So this shipped out Monday and today is Wednesday. So this one is in moss. Let me just see. I have some fresh moss over here. I may go ahead and put this one in the clear orchid pot just to be safe. Okay, so it looks like this one has a really nice root system as well. Thank you, Equigenera. Thank you for sending me healthy plants. I am gonna go ahead, okay, and add a little bit of my moss to this orchid pot, because this happened to me before where I need to be able to keep an eye on the roots basically. So I'm just going to stick it there. I'm not going to stick it down in the pot too far because I want it to be able to dry out pretty quickly. And I'm going to be putting these guys immediately into my grow tent with the humidifier on. I'm going to put them down on a lower shelf where they're getting partial shade, because we don't want to shock them, and just let them acclimate and do their thing. I really want to baby these plants. I really want to make sure that they're happy and they're not going to go into shock and they're not going to die on me. So I'm going to keep y'all updated over the next week or so. We'll pop in and do some updates on these plants and see how they're doing. So that's all I'm going to do. I can still see those beautiful roots swirling around the pot in here, and like I said, there's holes all the way around for aeration and ventilation, and hopefully it'll dry out that root ball really nice. So I didn't disturb either root ball. I didn't tear them apart, pull them open, you know, mess with them at all, so there should be no issue. I'm happy with this order. I'm happy with the roots and the way that they look, and we'll stay updated. I'm just like ecstatic to have a luxuriant. I can't believe this plant is sitting in my house right now. I'm gonna go ahead and spray a fungicide on these plants because I don't want any of the leaves to get any bacteria on them or fungal spots. And I do notice a little bit of black on this new leaf right here. I don't know what that is. It's probably just, you know, from shipping, but just to be extra safe, I'll see you guys again in just a sec. Hi! Okay guys, it has been 1 week officially since I unboxed the gorgeous Anthurium luxurians and the Philodendron fibrosum number 2. I'm having a bad hair day. I need to do my roots, so just look over this, okay? And if anyone's wondering what's on my face, I'm trying out these little face stamps, the little makeup face stamps. I think they're so cute. If you want to make fun of me, go for it. Basically, we are going to do an update on the plants 1 week later. I have an example of a plant that is kind of dying from Equigenera, and it's my last order that I placed with them before the Luxurians order. So I haven't had it too awfully long, and you can kind of see just what happens, I guess. Okay, so enough rambling. Let's get into it. Let's get into the updates. So first up, the first plant we unboxed was our Luxurians, of course. So I'm gonna start with her. Here she is. Beautiful. Oh my goodness, let me try the settings. Guys, my ring light is all busted up. We've had it like rigged up for about a year now, and it's officially time to invest in a new one, a better one. The Holy Grail. Okay, I thought I seen a web and I was about to crap myself. I'm like, already? You can't even let her acclimate before you attack. So as you can see, she now only has this beautiful leaf and her new baby right here. And I just have her setting down in, actually two, I didn't realize it, but there's two little orchid pots here. I did go ahead and remove the other leaf, which I probably should have left on. I removed that earlier today because it was just completely yellow and was serving no purpose. As I said, it's been 1 week in my care and it's doing really well. This leaf still looks flawless. The new leaf, I don't know, has it grown any? It does appear to have opened up a little bit. I have not watered either of these plants yet. I'm going to water them after I get done filming, but I just really wanted to let the roots, you know, dry out and stuff before I gave it another water. So we're just going to carefully pull this out and check on the roots, make sure there's no rot happening. Look at that. They look beautiful. Okay, so this video, I'm like eating my words, thankfully, and what happened last time and a few other times is not happening. So anything beyond this point that happens to this plant is going to be my fault. And I'm actually really nervous having it outside of my tent right now because I don't know that it's fully acclimated yet, but the update is my Luxurians is doing fantastic. I have been keeping an eye on this thing like a hawk. No exaggeration, but I haven't necessarily been touching it or messing with it or moving it. I have not moved it at all since I placed it in the grow tent, and I'm ecstatic with it. Like, let's look at plant number 2 that we unboxed. That is our replacement philodendron fibrosum. And again, she looks good. So we have both of the leaves that she arrived with. And I gotta say, you guys, the growth point is actually doing some things. It's like, I don't know, it looks like it's about to bust open. You know what I mean? Like when the growth points first come in, they're like really sleek and smooth. And then whenever the growth point is getting ready to pop out and emerge, they just kind of get a little bit like bumpy and pieces of the sheath start to kind of like pop up around it. Well, that's kind of what's happening. So I'm pretty excited about that. The roots look good though. They do definitely need a water. They look really dry, so maybe I shouldn't let them dry out quite this long. Better safe than sorry, honestly. Like, I just did not want to deal with the rot that I have dealt with on so many of my plants. Doing great. It looks fabulous. Very happy with it. No rot on either plant. And I do have to say, they didn't saturate these plants this time. Typically, honestly, like every plant I've gotten from them that I can think of, the medium was like dripping wet to the point where the paper in the box is pretty wet, you know? And these were not as wet, so I appreciate that. I'm very happy with this order, okay? Now let me show you a plant that I ordered about a month ago. I did not do an unboxing, but I do have some clips that I'll try to insert on the screen if I can find them, because this was like breathtaking when I unboxed it, you guys. Again, from Equigenera, this is a Philodendron luxurians. It was a fully rooted plant, but as you can see, the roots are no more. And this is a plant that I did just go ahead and leave as is. I left it in the planter that it was shipped to me in. The roots rotted away. So within a week of having this in my care, I noticed the leaf starting to droop, and I was like, oh no, because it was standing perfectly at attention when I unboxed it, and it was absolutely flawless. I'm just like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And I waited it out. 2 days later, it was getting worse and worse, and I was like, no, I can't do this. I gotta check the roots. And I pulled it out. The roots were all rotted. I mean, they were mush, and I couldn't save a single one of them. Every single one of them had to go. This is what we're left with. And yeah, so I guess it's been in this water for about 2.5 to 3 weeks now. No signs of new growth yet. There is a little bud right there. Appears to be potentially a growth point bud right there that's still green and alive. I don't have it under the water, obviously, but I don't know. I'm very upset because this was kind of similar to the LiQWYDs for me and the El Choco Red in terms of being on my wish list and me just feeling like I was never going to be able to acquire it because it was so expensive, and you know, it just wasn't in my budget. So I was happy to find this for an affordable price. It was still a lot of money though, okay? So it's really depressing. I did not say anything to Equigenera about this, but it is what it is. I don't want to be annoying with it. If there's no signs of new roots within a couple of weeks on philodendron especially, then I typically go ahead and put them in moss. So the moss will be like a last ditch attempt to save this plant. And as you can see, the leaf has just progressively gotten worse and worse. I have not removed it because still some chlorophyll in the leaf. Like, I want it to be able to take in as much light as possible before I have to remove the last leaf. This plant unfortunately only had this one beautiful leaf. It didn't have any other growth points whatsoever, so that's kind of what makes it even more upsetting. When I get a plant shipped to me and it loses its roots and its only leaf, that drops the chances significantly of me being able to rehabilitate the plant and bring it back. So it's a waiting game. Okay, on to the next portion. I do have some other things I could show you that had a very similar fate that I still have. I just can't seem to let go of in Begonia Bubbles in my grow tent and moss, trying to bring them back. There's like 3 or 4 different anthuriums in there that yeah, the same exact thing happened to, and I just haven't been able to bring them back. So I'm gonna save you the heartbreak, okay, from having to see that, but you can just take my word for it. Really quickly, I just wanted to show you guys a little comparison between the 3 plants. As I told you, LiQWYDs, Radicans, and LiQWYDs Radicans cross. So yeah, because I now have all 3. I have both parents and the baby, which is super duper exciting to me, and I love them all. I want to go over some of the main differences between the Anthurium Radicans and the Anthurium LiQWYDs. So I have tried to get my hands on this plant a couple of different times now. The first time, I ended up with this little cutie. This is actually a hybrid. This is a cross between Anthurium LiQWYDs and Anthurium Radicans. As you can see here, this is a more affordable option for those of you that really want the LiQWYDs but also like the Radicans, and you don't really want to throw the money down for the LiQWYDs, but you would like to have something at least crossed with the LiQWYDs. These are pretty affordable, relatively easy to get your hands on these days anyway. This is the little hybrid. Honestly, it just looks more like a Radicans in my opinion. The only difference that I've noticed, which is really hard for me to tell, it's still a little baby, but the leaf is a little bit less elongated than the pure Radicans, but it's not quite as plump and heart-shaped as the LiQWYDs. So that brings me to my next point. Let's go ahead and try and distinguish the differences between the Radicans and the LiQWYDs themselves, because I was quite confused about this initially, and I couldn't really find any information online on YouTube or Google or Reddit about it, like telling the difference between them. This is just the differences that I myself notice, which on camera it actually looks pretty obvious, doesn't it? I couldn't really tell before I owned both of them, but okay, yes, it's definitely more noticeable on camera. And look at that new leaf, you guys. Woo! So in this hand we have my Anthurium Radicans. Now I got this plant in the fall. This was sent to me by Aroid Market in a package, which I've mentioned a million times, I know. But basically they had me pick a couple of plants that I would like them to send me, and then they chose the rest, and they did a fabulous job. But I chose Anthurium LiQWYDs, And I got this, which is not a luxurians, it is an Anthurium radicans, which is perfectly fine. It was, you know, I love the plant regardless, and I'm very happy to have it. But you see my point. I got this and the hybrid before I finally got my luxurians. So that just made me really want the luxurians that much more, because I was like battling it out trying to get it and it just wasn't working out for me. Anyways, the Anthurium radicans has more of an elongated pointed leaf, whereas the luxurians, like, oh my god, it's just so beautiful on camera, I cannot. It has more of a short, deep heart-shaped leaf, like more of a chubby, full, shorter leaf. That's it. So it's a more of a chubby heart-shaped leaf. And yeah, the radicans is more elongated and pointed, as you can see here. That's a pretty good side-by-side comparison. These leaves are a lighter color because they are old. They're older leaves, so that's why. So the next difference is going to be the leaf texture. So both of them have a really similar texture, which is why I would assume they get mixed up and confused a lot. A lot of the times people post the radicans for sale as a luxurians when it's not a luxurians, but people who aren't super familiar with the differences between the two probably wouldn't know that necessarily. The luxurians definitely has more of the pebbled effect, the pebbled texture than the radicans, though the radicans does still offer that textured leaf. The luxurians also is a bit thicker, and it feels like the texture feels a lot more prominent than the radicans, just as it looks. So that's the two main differences with the actual leaves. Also, if you look up at the lobes, the radicans tends to have more of a gap between the ears, whereas on the luxurians, the ears are kind of crossed over one another. There's a gap in between the luxurians' ears, but lobes kind of meet up at the top. On the radicans, they don't do that. You have like kind of like that V-shape gap in between. A surefire way that you can tell if you have a radicans or a luxurians is going to be by the petiole. On our radicans here, you can see the petiole is more of a round shape. It's like a round petiole with a little indent going down the back of the petiole. On the luxurians, it's going to have a little bit of a ripple. So I hope you guys can see that. Whenever we get up towards the top of the petiole where it meets the leaf, it has like the little swivel effect. So it kind of flattens out and ripples up either side like a true Monstera deliciosa does. I noticed with the hybrid of the two, it has a petiole like the radicans rather than the luxurians. That's another thing. It may be even more difficult to tell what you have if you end up with a hybrid like this guy, where it looks kind of like both plants, both parent plants, and you're like, okay, I have no idea. Based off of the look of the leaf alone, you can turn it around and take a peek at the petioles, and at least it's true for mine. It doesn't have that rippling effect on the petiole. It's just a circular, regular, smegular petiole like the radicans. So yeah, that is the biggest differences, you guys, that I have noticed. It's easy to see why the radicans and the luxurians are often confused. And like I said, there's just no information out there about them, like to identify the two. And this was like a couple of years ago or so, whenever I first started looking into the differences between the two plants. I actually tried to look it up again before this video to see if I could get any better information for you guys, and even still I can't find anything. So if any of you guys have any other tips or tricks to distinguish the two from one another, or what makes them different, please feel free to drop them down below. Like I said, this is just my own personal experience and what I notice with my eyeballs in my head, okay? Either way, I love all three of these plants, and I am really excited to have the whole family now in my collection. I don't know, I just think it's really cool. Of course, I'm over the moon to finally have my luxurians. I just hope that I can keep it happy and get it to grow nice and big and beautiful for me. I do think the radicans is a wonderful arts alternative along with the cross. Like I said, if you're looking to get a luxurians but you just haven't found one in your price range, you don't want to throw down the money for it, because these are, again, a good bit more accessible and a lot cheaper. Okay, let me just tell you that the price tag between the two, regardless of how similar they look, that price tag really tells the difference. I guess that's like the biggest thing that we could say distinguishes between the two is that price tag, honey. So pretty. Okay, something else I'm kind of noticing, and this might not be true, it could just be the particular specimens that I have, but with the radicans, there appears to be a little pinkish red dot. Can you guys see that right here in the middle of the leaf? And I don't know, just notice that all of the leaves on my little radicans here have that little red dot right in the center between the ears. And I mean, so far on the luxurians, it doesn't have that. It has more of like that light limeish green color in the middle there between the lobes, so that could be another distinguishing factor right there. My advice again when it comes to Ecuagenera, do it. Just be prepared to rehab the plants and really look them over, inspect them really well. I wouldn't mess with the root ball too much, but I would definitely peep on it after you get it, especially if the medium that it's been sent to you in is sopping wet, and just make sure that there's no rot going on, no stem rot, no root rot, and otherwise you should be fine. Report any issues that you notice on your plants immediately after you receive them, because you only get 3 days, folks. In no way want anyone to think that I'm bashing this company at all. It's just the experiences that I've had this far with placing multiple orders. I just kind of wanted to put out the one thing that's not so good maybe I've encountered from ordering from this company, because I put out a whole lot of good, I feel like, in regards to Ecuagenera. I would be interested to do an import from their Ecuador location and see kind of like what the difference is in their packaging and the size of the plants, the acclimation process and all of that. So maybe we'll do that in the future. A lot of different shops offer this, I think, not just plant shops, but a shop pay option where you can make 4 installments. It's interest free. So that's what I did. I just was like, hey, let me try this out. It doesn't affect your credit whatsoever. I initially thought that it would build your credit, but I guess it doesn't. I honestly would not be able to own this plant if it wasn't for Ecuagenera's pricing and the option to do the payment plan. So I'm gonna stop rambling now. Yeah, I hope y'all enjoyed this video. Be sure and give it a thumbs up if you did, or a thumbs down if you didn't. Be sure you're subscribed if you wanna. And other than that, I'll see y'all again really soon, hopefully, in my next video. Love you guys. Bye.